Welcome to the Life of Being podcast, where we talk about all things life from a healthcare perspective all around the world. I'm your host, Kelly Tan, and in each episode, we'll explore stories, science, and wisdom to help you live well, think deeper, and express life fully. Let's begin. Today, we are joined by a special guest. We have Dr. Sean Chan from Scotland. Dr. Sean is a chiropractor with 6 years of experience who now serves as the lead chiropractor at Chiropractic and Wellbeing in Scotland. Dr. Sean is deeply passionate about the belief that everyone can benefit from chiropractic care, and he is devoted to sharing that message with as many people as he can. Beyond his clinical work, he also loves supporting his fellow chiropractors, sharing his experience, and helping the profession grow together. Dr. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks for having me. Thanks for thinking of me.
Shall we start by you sharing your story? How did you come into chiropractic?
Yeah, so I have a little bit of a different entry into chiropractic than a lot of people. A lot of people have I seen a chiropractor when I was a kid and chiropractic saved me, and then I wanted to be a chiropractor, which is an amazing story, and it's one that I probably wish I had a little bit of, but my story is a little bit different. So I like to think that, very cheesy, but chiropractic chose me. I didn't choose chiropractic, which I know a lot of people say, but when I was in school, and when I was younger, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. Chiropractic was never something that was on my radar. And then the only thing I really knew that what I wanted out of life was that I didn't want to work in an office or have like a boring to me 9 to 5 job or something like that. That's not what I wanted to do. I couldn't think of being an accountant or something like that. But so when I finished school and I didn't know what I wanted to do, I went into a different course. I studied biology for a few years, but I really didn't enjoy it because it didn't fulfill me, if that makes sense. So because it didn't fulfill me, I wasn't doing very well in it, which wasn't great. But at the time, my wife was seeing a chiropractor in Ireland, and it was actually my wife's mum, because they were talking about, oh, Sean hates his course and he's not doing well, and what's he going to do with his life? And it was actually my wife's mum who said, well, you're going to the chiropractor next week. Sean likes people, Sean likes science, Sean likes, doing things with his hands. Why don't you bring him along so he can see what the chiropractor does and then see if that sparks an interest for him or if that's an interesting thing for him. So yeah, it was actually my wife's mum that basically indirectly told me I should go and be a chiropractor. So I went with my wife to see this chiropractor and watch her get adjusted. And it was very fascinating because I'd never seen anything like it before. I grew up in a medical household. My dad's a gynecologist, and it was a different way of looking at the world, or looking at health, when I looked at chiropractic. So that piqued my interest straight away. But the chiropractor that I went to shadow was good. He was pretty open to letting me ask questions and poke and prod and all that kind of stuff. So it was a good little eye-opening thing. And to be honest, once I seen that and I could see myself doing something like that, I still didn't really know anything about chiropractic. I think it was like a month. I
Wow.
quit my course. I applied for chiropractic school. I had my interview, and then I started chiropractic school. Just kind of
Wow. That was
head
within a month's
first.
time.
Yeah.
Wow. Where was
Um,
it back then? Was it back in Scotland or is it in Ireland when that
it was in
happened?
Ireland. Yeah. Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
I grew up in Malaysia first and foremost, and I
Yes.
lived there until I was 15. And
Mm.
then I moved to Ireland, and I finished secondary school in Ireland, and I did uni for a few years in Ireland. And then when I moved to England to study to be a chiropractor, and then
Yeah.
eventually up to Scotland, where I am now.
And with your dad being in the medical field, did that not like pressure you to be a medical doctor per se?
It did when I was younger,
Mm.
um, because again, that kind of fit in my head of not working in an office and
Yes. Yeah.
working in health and
Yeah.
practical job and stuff. So Malaysian rules and laws and stuff are a little bit different. So when I was 16, I was
Mm.
actually, because my dad's a doctor, I was given
Yeah.
the opportunity to go and shadow in the hospital. So I
Yeah.
got to see him.
Yeah.
I got to see operations. I got to see deliveries. I got to see loads of stuff that a 16-year-old probably would never normally get to see
Yeah.
unless your
Yeah.
dad is a doctor and you live in Malaysia. And at the time, it was really interesting. And I saw these surgeries, and it was, really cool to see all this stuff as a 16-year-old that doesn't know any different. But the thing that changed it in my head, I can't remember what day it was, but I was there for 2 weeks shadowing. And one of the days we went for lunch in the hospital, and we were speaking to a few of his friends that were all kind of having lunch together. And they were like, oh,
Yeah.
what are you doing here, Sean? Why are you here? So I was like, oh, I've just come to see if this is maybe something I want to do. And all of them said, don't do it. We're all miserable. We all work
Wow.
crazy hours. We all hate our
Mm.
lives. And like none of them were happy in what they were doing.
Mm.
They were just like doing a job. And that to me, I was like,
Crazy.
they put all this energy and effort and
Yeah.
time and money and into things, and none of them were happy. They were all like just
Miserable. Yeah.
miserable. So
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's not something I want to do either. So that point, I kind of shifted away from the medicine thing a little bit.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, it was interesting telling my medically minded dad that I wanted to go to chiropractic school now and
Yeah.
give up my biology degree, and he was fine with it. He was pretty cool about it all. It makes some of our conversations now pretty interesting. Yeah, but it's good. Yeah, he's fine with it all.
When did you know chiropractic was your calling then? Was it the moment you shadowed or like few years in studying or like after now you're working? When did you felt like you're in the right space?
That's tricky because I still think that because I didn't really have a great understanding of what chiropractic was when I started
Mm.
university,
Yes.
I didn't, it wasn't like I went in going, oh, chiropractic is going to change the world. I know it already. I
Yeah.
kind of went in going, I saw this guy do this cool thing and I want to do it now. That's the height of what I knew
Yeah.
about chiropractic.
Yeah.
So it took a few years for me
Mm.
to kind of get involved and
Yes.
deepen my understanding of chiropractic. So it was probably into my second/third year of chiropractic school that I really got it. I really understood what
Yes.
this whole chiropractic thing is about, and also not gonna lie, started to discover that actually I'm pretty good at it. Like, because I think that's also a big part of it. Like,
Yeah.
I played a lot of sports and stuff growing up, and
Yes.
when you have a knack for something or when you pick things up
Mm.
well, then you kind of go, oh, you start to enjoy it a little bit more. And I think that's what happened in my first and second year, same as everybody. I couldn't adjust to save my life and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And then once I started to get that momentum and
Mm.
enjoy it more, then a
Get
light
it.
bulb
Yeah.
kind of switched in my head for that as well.
And how is it with their learning? Because maybe by then you've been taught chiropractic philosophy in activity
Yeah,
before.
I would say McTimney is a quite open school. So
Okay.
not to have a go at any of the other schools or
Yeah. Yeah.
anything
Of
like that,
course.
but I would say that McTimney allow you to kind of develop your own philosophy, which I appreciated because
Okay. Wow.
I'm the type of person that if people say jump, I say why, not how high. So like if things are being rammed down my throat, I tend not to listen anyways. So I
Mm.
think McTimney worked for me because they were kind of like, well, here's what we have to teach you
Yeah.
per the GCC
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
per the
Yes.
education standards and everything else. And here's all this other stuff that you can go and look at yourself if you want
Oh, that's
to. And
nice.
if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. So
Mm.
I don't know if that's still the case now, and I don't know which way or
Mm.
whatever it was, but in the time that I was there, it was a relatively open school. I also think I was very lucky in two senses.
Mm.
One, I had friends around me in my year group that were super into chiropractic. Like me knowing nothing and them being like super into chiropractic. I learned a
Mm.
lot from them.
Mm.
So that helped a little bit as well. But I was also very lucky with some of the supervisors and mentors that I had in school. I had certain people like name drop people, but like James Harrison, who's a chiropractor, amazing
Mm.
chiropractor, who was a supervisor of mine in my final year, who was really open to having cool vitalistic chiropractic conversations and wasn't too like putting down of the
Yeah.
vitalistic side of chiropractic,
Mm.
which I know happens sometimes for people.
Mm.
But I think there was a lot of luck involved in my scenarios because there was people that in my year that didn't have the same experience based on who they associated themselves with and stuff. So yeah, luck, fate, universe, whatever way you want to put it,
Brings you there. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
What is the one book or one conversation you had that like the bulb, or you feel like this is something everyone needs to know and that opens the door to chiropractic?
I don't know exactly. There's no like
Yeah.
one thing in my head that switched it for me.
Mm.
It was loads of stuff, but there was one thing in particular that I remember. This isn't a book, and I don't suggest anybody take their learning from YouTube or anything like that.
Okay. I kind of
But
know where it's going.
but actually, so there's a chiropractor from in the States called
Mm.
Dr. Brett Jones.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
he's got a coaching. I don't know if he's as associated with it anymore, but at the time it was the Adjusting Ninjas, and
Mm.
then it became Kairos Training Culture. And I remember seeing his stuff online kind of come up a few times, and two parts. One was his adjusting was really cool. Like
Mm.
that was a genuine factor. It looked cool.
Mm.
But also the way he talked about chiropractic and the way he explained how health and healing worked, that just clicked in my head. So there was something about the way he explained it and it just made sense.
Mm.
So, At
Mm.
that point, that was a real shift for me because I went and gone, oh, right, okay, what's this kairos thing all about? And kind of dived deeper into it and actually got quite involved with it when I was in school. That evolves and changes over time. But
Mm.
when I was in school, that was a huge part of my learning outside of school. So I did all my uni stuff,
Yes.
and then the kairos stuff was a big part of it outside of school, which really propelled it. But I will admit, I'm not the biggest reader in the world, so when it comes to books and stuff, probably not the best guest on your podcast to recommend
No,
it. But
you learn things from
um,
differently, isn't it? You just learn from seeing
yeah,
and doing.
yes, yeah. I'm
Mm.
much more tactile with when my learning. So, but that helped. And then again, when it comes to luck and universe or whatever it is, it just so happened that there was people in my year group that were friends of mine that we'd never spoken about this whole Brett
Yes.
Jones Kairos thing
Yeah.
before. But when I'd seen it and when I'd gone, holy crap, this is really cool. All of a sudden, I went into uni the next day and people were talking about it, and then I was like, oh, I just seen that guy too. Let's
Wow.
practice this stuff, or let's
Oh,
go and do this.
nice. Yeah.
It kind of snowballed from there a little bit, and it went from like three or four of us talking about it and practicing with each other to, when I was in school, when I left school,
Yes.
there was about 50 of us that were
Wow.
practicing training together, which was really cool.
It is really cool. Yeah.
But not really a thing anymore because,
Is it not?
well, it's very difficult now for students
Right.
with insurance rules and all that kind of stuff to
Yeah.
practice adjusting outside of school. So
Yeah.
that's
Totally
changed a
agree.
lot nowadays.
What is it with how Brett Jones explained about health and healing that inspired you in a way?
It was just that he made it very, very simple, which for me is a big deal because
It
if
is.
you have to over explain things or you have to use an essay to explain something, then
Yeah.
you probably don't understand it well enough,
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so he was just really clear and simple with it. He was just
Yeah.
like, there's
Mm.
interference in the body. Our job is to remove that interference. The brain knows what it wants to do. The body has an inborn intelligence that it knows what it wants to do and it knows how to survive.
Mm.
We just need to nudge it in the right direction to get it to unlock its potential.
Mm.
And that to me was like, oh, that's one sentence that makes everything super clear when I've just spent 2.5 years or 2 years or whatever it was in chiropractic school learning about cell biology and mitochondria and all this kind of stuff that I've never had to use in all my years of practice. So it was just kind of taking that and putting it into one sentence that I was like, oh,
Mm.
easy,
That makes
you know?
sense then. Did you always knew that adjustment is the key, or do you feel like Adjusting Ninja helped you see that adjustment is the key? That makes sense.
It definitely helped me see that adjusting was the
Mm.
key.
Mm.
In my first year of chiropractic school, much like many, many chiropractors that go into chiropractic school,
Mm.
I thought the best way to help people was to do everything for them. I wanted to go and do massage, I wanted to do dry needling, I wanted to learn rehab, I wanted to do everything. I
Mm.
wanted to be the one-stop shop person because
Yeah.
I didn't understand chiropractic at the time and I didn't understand what made us special or what made us unique.
Mm.
So when I first started school, probably my first year,
Mm-hmm.
in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm just going to go and learn everything
Mm.
because that's what's going to make me the best practitioner.
Mm.
And then when I started to do more of the Cairo stuff and the adjusting stuff and actually understand what happens when you adjust somebody, whether you look at it from the more spiritual level,
Mm.
the innate level, or whatever, or you look at it from the neurology and how the nervous system reacts and how that works, both ways are, to be honest, are the same answer. But you
Mm.
can look at it whatever way makes you more comfortable to explain to your clients or to your people
Yeah.
what the role the adjustment has in that process.
Mm-hmm.
That made it super clear for me that actually I don't want to waste any of my time doing things that I'm not the only person that can do, Like in
Mm.
our clinic at Alba, we have sports therapists, we have massage therapists, we do yoga, Pilates. We have other stuff there that massively complements people's health and their journey and
Yes.
their process.
Yes.
So I never ever want to take away from any of that stuff because that stuff is super important for people's health and well-being and care.
Yes. Yes.
But there is something that chiropractors can do that nobody else can do, and that is adjust.
Mm.
And that's the key thing for me. And that's where I was like, actually, I've got this really special thing that I can do
Yes.
that other healthcare professionals can't do or
Yeah.
can't do in the same way.
Yes.
So actually, let's really honor that and let's base everything around that.
Yeah.
And also, to be honest, there was also the other side of the coin where I was like, when I was in school, again, no
Mm.
disrespect to anybody, but when I was in school, there was lots of people in higher up positions that either didn't have very long in practice or didn't have crazy successful businesses and all that kind of
Mm.
stuff, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Definitely.
Education was their passion, so that's where they wanted to go into. I wouldn't be here without them, so it was really good
Yes.
for that. But I started to go and look for all the really successful chiropractors. And
Yeah.
not just people that made loads of money, like,
Yeah.
like success is whatever people's own
Exactly.
individual
Yeah.
idea of success is. So I started to go and try and find the really successful chiropractors,
Mm-hmm.
and they all really had two main things in common. One, they actually understood what chiropractic was and how to actually explain that to their clients.
Mm-hmm.
And two, they adjusted. They were good adjusters and they focused on the adjustment. So that for me, I was like, well, if all these really successful people are talking chiropractic and adjusting, then that's really what I should focus on.
Mm.
So then I was like, there's no smoke without fire. If it's a success, it's probably going to be for a reason. And it was just a common thing that I seen in everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So then that just cemented it for me.
Who is the successful chiropractors you're looking at? Is there any inspirational figures you have also using chiropractic?
There was a few like when I was in school, like shadowing clinics and stuff, and just in the local area. But
Mm-hmm.
even further afield, like, we looked at people like really amazing chiropractors in America and stuff that are pretty open about how their practices is and
Yeah.
stuff. There's people like Tim Young, who's okay, he maybe is a bit on the extreme end of the spectrum when it comes to the volume and the pace
Mm.
that he works at. But I mean, it works. It really, really
Exactly.
works,
Yeah.
And
It
then
gives
there's people
results.
like Brett Jones, there's people like Darren Murphy. There's
Mm.
all these amazing chiropractors that have these really successful, vibrant clinics and lives. And I was just kind of going, well, actually, there's probably something to this. So
Mm. And is there anything you would advise your peers or colleagues who think that actually I don't want Vitalis? I feel like an adjustment should be a tool in a toolbox and da da da. So do you feel like there's a place for that, or you feel like there will be a better place where there's everyone is in focus in your sole goal over there as a chiropractor?
I think chiropractic would be in a better place if everybody just focused on what we should focus
Mm.
on.
Mm.
I think part of the problem happens when there's too many blurred lines sometimes in,
Yeah.
in chiropractic. So I think if you go to one chiropractor and they spend, 2 hours with you and they do all this stuff, and then you go to a
Yeah.
different chiropractor, it's just not great for the profession as a whole for there to be
Yeah.
so much, not variation. Variation is actually really good for the profession,
Mm.
but it's just too much of not chiropractic.
Yeah.
That's where I look at it.
Too much of different messages.
Yeah, but I also think sometimes I just this I'm not trying to be condescending, but sometimes I feel bad for the people that are like maybe towards the other side because I think maybe they just haven't experienced chiropractic in a way that I have or that other people that I know have.
Yes.
Because sometimes I just think it's sometimes when you get adjusted,
Mm.
and I've had some of those adjustments where it's just undeniable that this is like the best thing ever.
Mm.
So like sometimes when you get that adjustment and it just feels like everything's cleared out and you're just on top of the world, it's pretty hard to then think, oh well actually maybe I'll, do all this other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like when you already feel amazing. So I think
Mm.
sometimes people just there needs to be more amazing adjustments and amazing chiropractors in the world
Mm.
so that chiropractic is better represented than all the other chiropractic. Not that one's wrong or one's right or anything like that. I do think there's probably a place for all of it, but I do think lines get blurred sometimes, and I think that's difficult.
What do you think is the key to bridge the gap then for them to actually understand and experience what chiropractic actually is? What do you think is the key, and what do you think that we can do to help with that?
I think there's two parts. I think one part is our fault. Ours, I say ours as in the people on the vitalistic side.
Mm. Mm.
And it is a spectrum. Like no matter what people want to think
Yeah.
about it, it's not one side or the
Yeah.
other.
Mm.
Like it's a spectrum across the board. You can be a
Exactly.
little bit of this and a little bit of this. And
Mm.
so I do think one of the problems is on our side where we kind of adopt this holier than thou kind of mentality
Right.
where if you don't think like us, then you must be wrong or you're a bad chiropractor or you're a bad this and we
Mm.
get, a little bit on our high horse because we know that it's so amazing. And
Yeah.
like it doesn't always come from a bad place. Like it comes usually from frustration. Like we see how amazing chiropractic is if you
Yeah.
just look at it like this, and why aren't you looking at it like that? So it gets a bit frustrating. So sometimes we get up on our high horse and we kind of, you know,
Yeah.
jab at people about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But I also think on the other side, there is a lot of fear behavior in chiropractic.
Mm.
People are afraid to say like if a client walks in the door and says, "Oh, my shoulder is really sore. I've got this problem with my shoulder." It's very easy to go, "Oh, okay, let's do 5 MSK tests on your shoulder and let's, the nice guidelines say if we do this rehab protocol for your shoulder, it might get better in 6 weeks or, like it's really
Yeah.
easy to fall back on that stuff and say, so and so says this will work and so and says this will work. It's
Mm.
actually, I think a lot of people are not afraid, but don't have the tools or the language of the skills to
Mm.
communicate effectively and say, hey, actually, your shoulder's probably really sore for a reason.
Yeah.
Your body's probably fallen into an adaptive behavior. Let's figure out what that is. Let's undo that. Let's get your brain and body functioning better together so that that shoulder can work how it's designed to work. And then maybe it won't be sore anymore.
Mm.
That sounds like a simple thing to say to somebody. And when I say it to people, because I have confidence in what I'm saying and I've seen it 100 times, and
Mm.
like that suddenly becomes a really easy conversation for me to have with a client.
Mm.
But it didn't start very easily. The
Yeah.
first time you say that to somebody when they're just going, will you just fix my shoulder? It's just this dodgy shoulder, just fix
Yeah.
it. It's really hard to then turn around to them and say, well, actually, as we don't fix anything, we just restore innate intelligence. Like that's not always the easiest conversation to have.
Yes.
So I think sometimes because it's not easy, people avoid it.
Mm.
That's not always the right thing to do either. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a hard bit because I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Fear, lack of understanding, lack of skill, lack of, it just comes from an emptiness of something. And
Mm-hmm.
you can blame the school system, you can blame the education system, you can blame the lecturers, you can blame whoever you want, but at the end of the day, each individual person needs to be able to go, "Hey, I want to be better. I want to do what I can," rather than just go, "Yeah, good enough is good enough." And that's when it
Oh,
goes wrong.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
If someone is, trying to learn more about this, or like from someone who doesn't know what chiropractic is, what
Mm.
would you think is the step that they should take to actually understand chiropractic deeper and serve the profession with chiropractic?
A chiropractor themselves or
Yeah,
like
more
a
on
temp?
chiropractic themselves. So if they're in the fence that, okay, I've been doing all these different toolbox, but
Yeah.
I've heard that chiropractic is so and so. How do I be a better chiropractor? How do I know about that?
I think there's a few different avenues that you can go down. I
Mm.
think I think most chiropractors, if you email them, if you send them a message on social media, if you say, "Hey, I seen that you did this talk at the UCA seminar and I really like that thing. Do you mind if we have a 5-minute conversation because I like your stuff?"
Mm.
I think most chiropractors are pretty open to having a chat with anybody.
Yeah.
You'll always get one or two that is too busy or too whatever, and life gets in the way, and that's
Yeah.
fine. But
Yeah.
most chiropractors that are really passionate about chiropractic, as you probably know, doing this podcast, asking people to come and talk about chiropractic, like
Yes.
me, love talking about chiropractic.
100%.
So none of us usually mind talking about chiropractic to other chiropractors.
Yeah.
But I think people are nervous to ask or don't want to feel like they're an imposition and all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
So I think the first thing is if you find somebody that you go, oh, I really like that thing, or oh, I that was interesting and I like that. Just reach out to them. Just ping them a message and say, hey, do you mind if we have a chat, or can I come and shadow you and practice and see how you
Mm.
work? Or
Mm-hmm.
that's the best way, I think, to get actual one-on-one time with somebody that inspires you or
Yeah.
that you take no interest from or whatever it is. You can go down the route of going to seminars and
Yeah.
conferences and all that. And I do that. I go to seminars and conferences all the time,
Yeah.
which is great. But I do think sometimes when you're sat in a conference or you sat in an adjusting seminar or
Yeah.
you're sat at a philosophy seminar and there's 50 people in the room, 100 people in the room, 500 people in the room, you can get lost in it a little bit. Like you end up
Mm.
just, and I know I do anyways, you end up just taking nuggets, which is
Yeah.
great. But if you're starting from scratch and you want to build some kind of foundation,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes those little nuggets aren't enough. So actually going and meeting and chatting to people and, just exposing yourself to it. But people have to want it. That's the other thing. There is no silver bullet in chiropractic.
Mm.
Any chiropractor or any coach or any mentor or anybody that says, oh, just do this one thing
Mm.
and everything's going to be perfect, I'm yet to find that one thing that actually works. That one thing might be an amazing tool that you have
Mm-hmm.
to implement and practice and work on, but you have to practice it, you have to master it, you have to put effort and energy into it. So I think that's also a big thing, is understanding that you will find all these mentors and you will find all these people that will be amazingly willing to help you in anything that you want to do.
Mm.
But whoever you are, you have to put in the work. Because I can guarantee that if you keep asking somebody for help and you don't put any effort in,
Yeah.
that help will stop coming pretty quick.
Is there anything you would say for someone who actually doesn't want it? They're just comfortable with what they do, they're comfortable in being a fear-based scarcity mindset. Do you feel like they could have
That's
done
okay.
better?
That's okay. I mean, just like how we deal with our clients, we have no control, right?
Yeah.
Like, if somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I think you're wrong. Prove me right," or have an argument with me and try and tell me you're wrong. If you already think I'm wrong, then what's the point? you know?
Yeah.
Like in reality, there's no point having an argument with somebody over
Mm.
something if they're not willing to look at both sides of the coin. Now, I'm happy to speak to anybody about anything, no matter how divisive a topic. I'm happy to have
Yeah.
a chat about it as long as everybody's open-minded and take something
Mm.
from the conversation. So
Mm-hmm.
I think if somebody's really happy with the way they work and it works for them and, or it doesn't work, like if it's working for you, then you must be doing something right. If you're happy, if
Mm.
you're successful, if your idea of success is seeing one person a day from home because you've got kids and you want to spend all your time with your family and
Mm.
whatever your idea of success is and you have that, amazing. Who am I to judge or change or impact any of that? But if you want more out of chiropractic and you aren't successful in your own right, if you're not happy with where you're at, then you have to be self-aware enough to go, let me find somebody that I can learn from, let me go and do
Mm.
something better. That anybody can help with. If that's your mindset and you're like, I'm not doing something right or I'm missing something, let me go and find it, you will go and find it. You'll find it.
Mm.
So I have no issue with that. The issue I normally take is when people go that are not doing what they think they should be doing and they blame everybody or everything except for themselves. So
Yeah.
that's a trickier conversation. So if that's the
Mm.
type of person that's coming to me and saying I'm happy
Mm.
with where I'm at, then I go, okay, if you're happy with where you're at, then that's where you're at, and
Yeah.
that's not going to change.
Mm.
Um, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, kind of thing. So, but yeah, it's like the same with our clients. So when people come in and get adjusted
Yeah.
on my first visit with every single person,
Mm.
I say, look, I know that your most important thing. Well, it's a bit different now because I don't. Well, first of all, I don't see a lot of new clients because I don't
Mm.
have the capacity,
You're
but
busy.
I also only see new clients that are immediate referrals. So most
Yeah.
people that are coming to me, they already have an understanding of what my process is and what they're coming for because their
Mm.
mom or their
Yeah.
kid or whoever has told them that that's what's going to
Yeah.
happen. But I say to every single person when they walk through the door, the first thing I say is, your number one priority might be you've got this pain and you want this pain gone.
Mm.
That's great. Don't want to take that away from you. That's my number two priority.
Mm.
My number one priority is getting your body to function better, getting your body to communicate better. If we can do that, then most of the time you feel better and that's great. But my priority is function, not feeling.
Mm.
So that being able to like put the onus onto them, it's the same as if I'm chatting to other chiropractors. Like I can't change your mindset. I can't heal your body. I do any of that.
Mm.
The body does it itself. You can change your mindset. I can't change your mindset. We can
Mm-hmm.
have a conversation. You might take something from it, but ultimately, if you think I'm wrong and that's not going to change, then you'll think
Yeah.
I'm wrong at the end of the conversation, anyways.
Yeah, you have to be open-minded to actually learn,
Yeah,
isn't it?
100%.
How did you manage to build up to such a successful from a point of view where success for you is also immediate referrals, you're super busy, you're focusing chiropractic at the same time you're serving people and impacting people at its maximum. So how did you manage to scale through where you are at the moment?
With a lot of help from a lot of different people.
Where would you say that will like start with, or who is one?
I think I
Yeah.
think most of it comes from having, unfortunately, in our job,
Yeah.
it is a personal job. We deal with people.
Yeah.
So we have to be authentic. We have to be confident in what we do because if we're not authentic, if we're not confident, people will smell it a mile off.
Mm. Mm.
So I think for me, one of the things that helped or that kind of
Yes.
contributed to where I am now
Yeah.
is having a bit of that confidence. Now, I'm not saying that I was born with all this
Yeah.
confidence and
Yeah.
nothing ever shakes me, but things don't get to me as much as I know it does to other people.
Mm.
So, like, for example, doing this
Mm.
call with you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, cool, let's just have a conversation and talk about chiropractic. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I know that other people would
Right.
not be like that, right?
Mm.
So if I understand something, if it makes sense to me, it's an easy thing for me to do. So when I say to a client, hey, this is what's going on, this is how chiropractic works, this is how I'm going to help you,
Mm.
to be honest, from day one, that was an easy conversation for me to have with people
Mm. Mm.
because it was made simple for me through lots of people and lots
Yes.
of training.
Yes.
So I just kept it simple and that's what it was. And I think that helped. That was a help for me that maybe is not going to be a help for other people.
Mm.
But the other thing was, I mean, I grew up playing lots of sports and
Yes.
particularly I did a lot of taekwondo when I was a kid.
Mm.
And it was this idea that like training is everything and It's not about trying to be the
Mm.
best or competition, but it's trying to be better than you were yesterday. And I think that's why the kairos stuff really resonated with me at the time when I was in school, because that's all about training. Like all their sayings and their quotes are like 1% better today than yesterday, and all this kind of stuff. And that really kind of pumped me up.
Mm.
But that's the mindset that I still have now. So while I don't dwell on my losses or things that don't go
Yeah.
right, I'm going right. I want to be better. I want to be better. I want to be better. So I also think that helped me build
Mm.
what I have now, is that not that I'm never satisfied, like I'm very
Mm-hmm.
happy with what I've done,
Mm-hmm.
and I take time to appreciate and acknowledge that.
Yes.
But equally, I'm like, right, how can I be 1% better? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to just rest on my laurels, because as
Yeah.
soon as you do that, that's when you start to go backwards or you start to fall
Mm-hmm.
off. But I've also been very lucky. I've had people around me, I've had direct mentors and indirect mentors that have all kind of said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never been let to just be like, oh, yeah, you're great, Sean. Like,
Mm.
just, oh, you know everything, so you can stop trying. Like, that's never been a thing for me.
Mm. Mm.
I've got like my boss, Richard, who owns the clinic that I work at.
Yes.
Like, we constantly talk about the fact that part of the reason why we think, I don't know if this is true or not, it's just what
Yeah.
we think, but part of the reason why we think Alba works so well in the way it does, like, we are the clinic's been around for 20 something years, and we
Yes.
are just now creating a website because we've
Mm.
never had the need to have a
Yeah.
website to generate new clients. We don't
Yes.
do, like, for a long
Yeah.
time, our Facebook page was pictures of Richard's socks and like funny things for Christmas. Like, we didn't do any marketing, we didn't do any of that stuff because we had an abundance of clients running through the door,
Mm.
because we had a good reputation and because we did. So we always talk about it, and chiropractic is so good that it works most of the time anyways, right? Even if it's not done perfectly, it works. That's how amazing chiropractic is. But it works 80% of the time. So if you're an average chiro, or if you're not giving 100%, or if you don't love what you do, if you don't have that little extra thing, it
Mm.
still works 80% of the time.
Mm.
But if you can push for that 20%, that 20% that nobody else can help, that 20% that nobody else is willing to try or go outside the box, or that little extra bit, if you can help that 20% of people, those are the people that go and tell everybody to come and see you. Those are
Mm.
the people that suddenly you adjust one member of the family, and suddenly my Wednesday evenings are just family days. There's 4 or 5 members of the family all
Oh,
coming
so
in,
cute.
which is amazing.
Yes.
But it usually stems from helping one of that person in the family.
Mm.
Like, nobody wakes up one day and goes, you know what? All 5 of us are going to the chiropractor. That doesn't happen. As much as we'd like to think it happens, and someday maybe in the future it will happen,
Yeah.
but it doesn't happen right now.
Yeah.
So most of the time, one person comes in with a problem or an injury or
Mm.
something.
Mm.
We are able to help them in the way that we can. And if we're able to do it to a level where they're like, whew,
Yes.
that's changed my world,
Mm.
that's going to get everybody else to come in. And I think that's the game changer, and that's where it builds into what it is. And you say success and all that stuff. I'm very happy with where I'm at. I'm still not 100% happy with where I'm at. I
Mm.
still want to push and do more, and
Yes.
sometimes that, for me, that tends to go outside the clinic a little bit as
Yeah.
well.
Mm-hmm.
So with where I want to grow and do more, it's still chiropractic stuff, but maybe not always one
Yeah.
on one with clients. Whether it's coaching, mentoring, all that kind of stuff comes into it as well.
Mm-hmm. So just following up with what you're mentioning, so you're mentioning being more open-minded, wanting to want it,
Mm,
keeping improving 1% better each day. At the moment,
yeah.
what are you working on? What are you trying to improve recently?
Okay, that's a good one, because I think I always want to work on the things that I think I'm good at anyways. So, like, I always want to work on my adjusting because I don't want to get lazy, and I always want to work on my
Mm.
communication because I don't want to get lazy. But
Mm.
there's other aspects that I think I can definitely be better at.
Mm.
That is where my mind is at the minute. So one of the things that I'm starting to do more over, that I'm particularly passionate about at the minute, is I do these like adjusting workshops out of the clinic
Mm.
and have people come and
Yes.
and train together. I would like that to be a bigger thing and a more established thing than what it is right now. I love
Mm-hmm.
what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing, but I want it to be bigger. I want it to be better. I want it to be a more structured thing. But that's where I'm putting a lot of my focus now, is learning how to be a better coach, mentor, whatever way you want to look at it, facilitator, to like allow the group to learn better. And so I've done, I think, 4 or 5 of them now, where I've had
Mm.
just like an open door policy. Whoever wants to come, and we'll practice and train together, which is great.
Yes.
But just that's where a lot of my trying to get better at is at the minute. I want to be a
Right.
better communicator in how to teach chiropractic, because like we were talking about earlier, not everybody has the same mindset, and
Yes.
the whole leading a horse to water, but you can't
Will
make them
come a beginning.
drink.
Yeah.
but you still have to be able to educate them in a way that you give them the best opportunity to learn. And
Mm.
that's what I'm trying to get better at the minute. Yeah, so that's where a lot of my trying to be better is right
Yes.
now. But
Is that
yeah.
workshop like how often does that workshop run? Is it like once every couple of months, ad hoc? How is it? How does it work for you? And what are you looking to achieve?
Like I said, I'd like it to be more structured. So right now it's pretty much when I feel like it. But in theory, it should be every 3 months. That's the idea. And it ballpark has kind of worked out like that.
Okay, yeah.
Roughly. I think this year I had a little bit of a gap, so I maybe only did three
Mm.
this year instead of four. But
Yeah, that's better, like
yeah.
three instead of like none.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I think a lot of it as well, I mentioned earlier that when I was in uni, when we were doing all the kairos stuff, we
Yes.
had a big group of us that got to train and practice together. And
Yeah.
like that was really great for me. And then when I came
Mm.
out and I went into the big, beautiful world of chiropractic, I realized that nobody else had that. Like
Right.
I went
True,
into
yeah.
clinics and nobody else had that. Everybody just went to school, got their degree, and then
Off you
went
go.
into the world of
Yeah.
chiropractic, and maybe went to one seminar or maybe went to a few seminars. And
Mm-hmm.
if they're lucky and they could afford to go to
Mm.
a big conference or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But very few people got to practice and train with a group of other chiropractors or other students and stuff. So I
Mm.
was like, oh, this is a bit of a weird thing that I got really lucky to have and be a part of, but
Mm.
nobody else has this. So how can I try and recreate something like that?
Yes.
How can I try and give a little bit back from what I had
Yes.
to other people as well in my own way?
Yeah.
It's not like what we did when we were in school, but it's yeah,
It's also like it seems like it's keep growing from year to year. First year you started with
yeah,
a smaller group, and now it's like you recently had one, didn't you, a couple of weeks back, and that's
yeah. We had it a couple
like a
weeks
full
ago.
house. So many people from
Yeah,
all over England and coming up to Scotland. That's really amazing to see.
yeah. It's really cool because there's people that have come quite far to come
Yeah,
and practice and train together,
exactly.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
Because I try and make it the least about me as possible. Because I don't want it to be about me. It's not about me. I'm as a chiropractor, I am what I am, but
Mm.
I want everybody else to get something out of it. I want everybody else
Mm.
to grow and get better. So I try and let it be about everybody else. So it's nice that people are coming and people are coming back, which is
Yeah.
really cool
Yeah.
because it
You can
means
see
that they're
the
getting something
improving.
out of it.
Yeah. That's really
Yeah.
great. How can people join that? What's the policy in terms of able to attend that and then you
Um,
and the group?
so right now, other than when people like you ask me to do things like a podcast and stuff, I don't really do a great job of talking about myself or what
Okay.
I do. I just kind of
Low
do
key.
it and yeah,
Like immediate referrals
yeah,
only.
yeah, kind of. Yeah. My success in chiropractic clinic has made me lazy in the rest of the world of marketing and visibility and stuff. So
Well, in a way, yeah. You're if you're good at what you do, people will like slowly like grow and they'll tell
yeah,
friends. It's the
which is
same as how
true.
you build your well, how you started the
Yeah.
practice, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I need to get better at talking about myself and what I do.
How can people join that and how can people best find you and reach out to you if they have any question?
The best way to get in touch with me is message me on Insta,
Yeah.
Dr. Sean Chan DC.
Mm.
Pretty simple. Or email me, drshanchandc@gmail.com. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy to chat to anybody about anything. So if people
Yeah.
want to chat away, just ping me a message and I'm happy to chat. If people ever want to come up and shadow the clinic, I'm super happy for people to do that as well. I have no issue with that.
Yes.
And then if people want to come to the adjusting days, I usually post them in like a few of the big chiropractic groups on Facebook and I usually
Okay.
stick it up on my Insta.
Yeah.
I'll usually create like an Eventbrite link. At the minute,
Yeah.
it's all free. I don't charge anybody
Yeah.
anything. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a thing that we can all come. That might change in the future, but for right now,
Mm-hmm.
it's free.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just if people
Yeah.
want to come and practice and learn and train together, then that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
So yeah, as long as people have me on some kind of social media,
You
although I'm
will
not very
reach out,
active
yeah.
on it either, but if I'm doing an adjusting day, it'll be on my social media.
That'll be perfect then. I will link
Yeah.
your handles into the description box. And if anyone wants to reach out to Dr. Sean Chan, highly recommend. That's how I reach out to you. And you're saying yes to this conversation. And we really appreciate your time and sharing your knowledge there. Before we wrap things up, is there anything you'd like to leave the listeners to? Do you feel like any advice you would give to any listeners?
For fellow chiropractors, just if anybody ever needs anything, I'm always more than happy to help. Just reach out. I think everybody just needs to love chiropractic a little bit more.
Mm,
And one of my biggest things at the minute, I'll promise I won't ramble about this because
Go
I
for
know
it
I have a
now. You have
tendency
more
to talk.
time.
But in chiropractic, we have a tendency to fall into this habit of if I'm right, you must be wrong, or if you're right, I
Mm,
must be wrong, and this kind of mindset. So
mm,
if there's one thing I wish that people would kind of switch away from is this idea that there's only one way to do things, you know? I think we can have principles and we can have fundamentals that we should
yes,
have,
yes,
and
yes.
that's where we can build our foundations from. But
Mm,
whatever way you want to apply chiropractic or whatever way you want to, what lens you look at chiropractic through, you should be allowed to, and that should be celebrated.
mm,
Because I think that puts a lot of people off as well. Like it doesn't need to be so dogmatic, you know.
mm. Well,
Because I
yeah.
think that can be a scary thing for people as well.
That's a really great way to end the conversation. It's lots of gems, lots of knowledge, lots of wisdom from this episode. So I really appreciate your time, Dr. Sean.
I appreciate you reaching out to me, Kelly.
Perfect. Then we'll leave your informations and people will
Yeah,
definitely reach out to you to shadow you, attend your workshops, and just be a better chiropractor 1% each day.
yeah, that's perfect.
There we go. We'll speak really soon then, okay?
Okay,
Take care
cool.
then.
Thanks,
Bye bye.
Kelly.
See you then.
See you later.
Thank you for tuning in to the Life of Being podcast. Let us know what is your one key takeaway from this episode. And if this conversation inspired you, share it with a friend who might find it helpful today. Until next time, take care of your health and take care of your being.